most of you I haven't met. A couple of you I have. And the world begins anew. You know, something kind of interesting. Short of one or two of you that have been stuck in anatomy, you haven't been asked to do anything that was really portfolio quality. You know, you've done the perspective drawing class and observational drawing and a couple other classes, and yeah, your teachers all wanted you to do really good stuff, but then on the other hand, you're not going to put some of that design stuff in your portfolio, and probably not going to put the perspective stuff, depending on how well you did in it, in your portfolio. Here we are in storyboarding, and like a lot of the classes you get, you're only going to get one of them, okay? And we've got to kind of hit the ground running. Okay, we have to kind of start thinking that right now is a good time for the portfolio, because you're not going to get a Storyboard 2 class or Storyboard 3 class that you can we can fine tune further on down the road. And I know you've seen lots of storyboards, and I don't know about you, I get movies on DVDs, things like that, and a lot of them come with, especially the good ones, come with that second disc. It has all the cool stuff on it. Now, me, I usually watch the second disc like 2 or 3 times before I even bother with the movie. More often than not, because I want to see the cool stuff. I want to see what it is that the magic people did to make magic. I had a really cool art history class in animation in college, and I love this guy's name was Howard. He worked with Disney and Warner's and a couple other places, and the famous joke of all was like everyone used to just stop Howard anywhere on the street or something like that out of class and says, "Howard, how do they move?" And his, of course, answer was magic. Not about the artist, not about whatever he did or we did or we do. It was always magic. Magic made the drawings move. Of course, you all know by now it's a lot of work. Just plodding ahead, doing drawing after drawing after drawing, and then the computer is really the same principle. Just that thank goodness the computer will do some of the dirty, nasty stuff for us for the most part. This is a drawing class, although the computer will come into play. The computer is there for a reason. And projects 1 and 2, I'd like to see that done the old school way, by hand. Your pencil is pushed, the ink is pushed, the brush is pushed, whatever it takes to get the story told is there. Then as we go through the program a little bit, we get a little further along. If the machine comes in handy for you, congratulations, you win. Don't let it rule your life. Be careful of the machine, too. It sometimes makes things that could be better stiff. My phrase is best quick description of it. I find some things done in, well, for instance, I kind of work in Illustrator a lot because it's a real easy program, and someone with a simple mind, it's a good idea to work with something easy. But I find drawing Illustrator is tedious and time consuming, and takes an awful lot of effort. Something I can do in 15 minutes by hand, it takes me hours and hours on the computer. And so you'd sometimes be cautious of that you gotta, get yourself stuck in something. Then all of a sudden you realize, no, I've done it this way for this part. In order to get the same thing to happen, panel after panel after panel. Well, that first one, and I will even forewarn you, I've been, as a storyboard artist, I've been there before where a client has said we need 16 boards and we need 18 pieces or something like that, and we need them. I tend to talk in little fragments here, but one story gets me to another. We have projects, there'll be 4 big projects in the quarter, and each one, for the most part, in the beginning at least, are 2 weeks apart from each other. I'm going to assign you something today, and then 2 weeks from today, week 3, we're going to present it, go through the song and dance and everything. And then the next 2 weeks, will follow that way till the last project will be a little longer term, so that we have a little bit more time to flesh another portfolio piece out. those deadlines, 2-week deadlines, are incredibly unrealistic in the professional field. Most storyboard deadlines are closer to 3 days, 2 days. Some of the ones that I've been paid much better for tend to be 3 hours, 4 hours, something like that. How quick can you get here, kind of thing. And that's actually what the business is more like in terms, especially locally, doing things in the Houston community. Now, if you're, I'm going to show you a video in a little while, something from Monsters Inc. and Pixar and some of those other wonderful places that do some better work. When you're working on films, the deadlines are different because you're working constantly on projects and building problems and stories. And as they're going to illustrate on this little video that you'll get to see, you'll find that they're able to actually, flesh an idea out, and then of course what the storyboards are all about, especially in that situation, are to figure out if it works. It's back to what I mentioned a minute ago about just even working in Illustrator. You do something on the machine, and it takes hours to do things, long time to do stuff. On paper, once again, you can do it relatively quickly, and the important thing is figuring out, does it work? Steven Spielberg, from what I understand, because I'm not really personal friend with him, I understand does storyboards like 95% of his films. And everything is planned out ahead of time. If he's going to have Indiana Jones, leaping out of a dirigible, which you can't buy too many of anywhere, and then blowing it up or something like that, he wants to know if it's going to work in his film. Because if he has Harrison Ford and the stuntman and everyone else do all of whatever they're going to do, and then blows this thing up that cost him $100,000 to build just so he can blow it up, and then it doesn't work in the film, well, he's out that money already. And he's a rich guy. Steven Spielberg's a very wealthy man because he understands how to do things. He understands that, if I'm going to put this in here, I'm going to use it. And if it isn't going to work, well, why bother? And you can do something on paper real quick, relatively fast, and then figure it out how it flows within the context of what you're doing, and then make some decisions on, will it work with my film? And that's what storyboards are about. That's the way to kind of quickly sketch something out. I just mentioned quickly sketch something out. If you're a sculptor, if you're working in clay, for instance, well, you get this big lump of clay. And then you start poking at it and pushing at it and making little bits and sticking stuff on it until you finally get whatever it is up here to come out in front of you. You start with the whole big thing, the big lump of clay, in other words. And to a certain extent, storyboards, drawing, all of those same things quantify as the same thing. To the few of you that have settled or been saddled or been sitting in my drawing classes, you know that when I'm talking about drawing the figure, it's usually here's the head, here are the feet. This is how I get from here to there, and I think of the whole thing as a complete. And then try to figure out, how the hell do I do it like a magician? How the hell do I do it? And we slowly figure it out, flesh it out. It's one of those things that we have to sometimes make a few mistakes along the way, just to figure out, well, how the hell do I do that? And so those are some of the basic things about in terms of storyboards. There's several kinds of storyboards, and as I mentioned a minute ago, we have to really hit the ground running to try and create portfolio pieces. My main ambition for you folks is that you go make money at this stuff, okay? And I have been a fine example of whenever I could ask myself this question: this is what I'm learning, this is what I'm figuring out, this is what I'm doing. And the question asked is, how can I make money with this? More often than not, if I can answer that question, or if I can figure out an answer for that question, the projects get a lot better. The work becomes easier. And I guarantee you all, because some of you will struggle and suffer and will deal with this problem of, how the hell do I do this? When you answer the question, if I do it this way, I can make money, it does get better. The quality gets better, the projects come faster. For the students that have taken long hours and struggled, it took me weeks to do that thing, to do that project. And you get out of here and you get the official piece of paper that says